So holy fucking shit, RE7.
Holy jeez, RE7. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
It's so good. I'm not gonna really get into, like, huge spoiler territory, but I will say I'm at Lucas right now.
Yeah.
And just, God, everything that I was worried about with this game evaporated once I started playing it.
Same. I took basically all of yesterday, the moment the game arrived at my house, and up through this morning, and I've beaten it once. I did horribly at it. I died a ton, but my god, it was the best experience I've had with the franchise in years. This is probably the best jumping point, I'd say, for new fans, and this is what the series needed again. My god. It's so good.
I remember, because, like, one of my biggest fears with regards to RE7 was just like, oh, is this going to feel like an RE game, or is it going to feel more like Outlast? And there was a period of time where it's just like, okay, this is a little Outlasty. I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy this as a Resident Evil game. But then, like, I got a gun. I got into the main hall, and suddenly it was asking me to find 3 dog heads in order to open the front door. And I'm just like, okay, this is, we in there. We doing it. And that game goes in hard.
Oh, god,
like,
yeah.
Wow, I was not expecting half the shit that happened at the beginning of the game to actually happen.
I am so glad that Capcom went as low on spoilers as possible, and I went in as blind as possible, because I ended up fucking terrified multiple times. And let me tell you something, do not play this game for like 8 straight hours and go to bed. Do not do that, because it will give you nightmares. And I had nightmares. But I woke up the next morning. And was like, I'm gonna finish this fucking game.
I'm gonna play this fucking game, my dude. I'm gonna do it.
I'm getting the fuck out of Louisiana.
Oh man, so God, I said it on Twitter the other day that I want somebody to make a demake of RE7 where it's just like Resident Evil 1 style PlayStation graphics, and because like I was playing through the game. And I'm just like, this just feels like I'm playing Resident Evil 1 in first person. That's all it felt like. And it's just like, that's good. That's what I want.
This is so good.
It's so good. I'm so excited to play more.
I can't wait for the movie to come out later this week that completely gets everything about Resident Evil wrong.
Resident Evil. So hello, and welcome to this 5th episode of Code Jovovich. I'm Gage.
I'm Lou.
And today we are watching Resident Evil Retribution, the last of the movies until the final chapter.
Yeah, we are down to the last of these. As of this recording, the final chapter comes out in about 2 days in theaters.
I've already got my tickets reserved.
I have not. I will probably get my tickets reserved and just go back home immediately after to replay RE7 again.
I'm actually going to be seeing it the day that we record the podcast for that movie.
Holy shit.
So it will be fresh in my mind.
You'll need to let me know when you see it, so maybe I can schedule it so I can go see it the same day as well, because I've never taken notes in the theater. Okay. Oh, it's Wednesday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
I should be able to do Wednesday. I think Wednesday of next week is going to be a free day for me, so...
I'm doing it pretty early in the morning so that I don't have to pay, full price for tickets.
Full price, yeah, I might do that too. I'll probably then just go get myself a nice burger to erase the pain.
So, let's dive into Retribution. The movie summary is as thus. Movie cash offer. Purchase this title from 1/24/27... Hold on, wait a minute. Oh, okay, excuse me. The Umbrella Corporation's deadly T-virus is spreading across the globe, transforming ordinary people into legions of undead. Headed for extinction, the human race has just one hope. Alice. Of course. She's on a mission, fighting her way through cities and across continents, all inside Umbrella's prime research facility. Old friends become new enemies as she battles to escape and discovers that everything that she believes may not even be true. And that's something that we're gonna get into. So, of course, Milla Jovovich is back as Alice. We also get a few other returning characters. We get Sienna Guillory as Jill Valentine again. Colin Salmon is back as One. Michelle Rodriguez is back as Rain. Sean Roberts as Albert Wesker. Boris Kodjoe as Luther West. And Oded Fair as Carlos, and also Todd.
Oh boy, Wait, who was Todd?
We'll find out. We also get some new characters, and in particular, we get some familiar faces from the games. Particularly, we get Kevin Durand as one Barry motherfucking Burton.
Oh boy.
We get Johann Erb as Leon S. Kennedy.
Oh boy.
And then we get Li Bingbing as the face of Ada Wong.
But not the voice, and that's an interesting case, because in this case, I do know we get a actual game voice actor.
Yeah, which I'm still not sure how to feel about that.
Yeah, to clarify, we get Sally Cahill, who was the voice of Ada Wong in Resident Evil 2, 4, and in Darkside Chronicles for her 2 reprisal. And I've always liked Sally Cahill's work, but it's going to be a little awkward to hear her dubbing over her character, because apparently the actress Li Bingbing, apparently her English wasn't very good going into the film, or was it that, or was it that Jay just didn't think she had the voice? One way or another, they ended up dubbing her over.
And we can get into that more once we get into the post-show.
Absolutely.
Because I have some thoughts on that.
Same. I absolutely do as well.
Yeah, I would like to talk about that particular point. Now, I am noticing that on the Voodoo page for this movie, and I'm thinking that maybe this is because they use just sort of like file footage from the other movies, but they've got the characters from like the entire series. Like, oh hey, there's Matt. Oh hey, there's fucking Spence. There's Medic. Oh, there's Kmart. Kmart isn't in this movie, by the way.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, was this promoted? I know that Extinction, at a point, was promoted as, like, the final of the movies. Was this promoted as a finale as well?
God, no. There's no way it was promoted as the finale.
Thank God.
Like, Extinction I can see as being promoted as the finale, but Afterlife and Retribution both have hard sequel hooks.
Okay, because it sounds to me like, going into this movie, I'm kind of expecting them, pardon my language, but for them to kind of shoot their wad with this film. It sounds like they pull all the stops, which is ironic because apparently Final Chapter, it's like, okay, we're out of characters and actors and we're not going to call anybody back. So I'm wondering how this goes. I'm expecting it to be the dumbest.
Oh, it is absolutely going to be the dumbest. It's not going to be the dullest because we've already watched Extinction.
Oh, yeah.
But the justification for why none of the characters come back in the next movie, or well, like not a lot of them come back, is actually super unfortunate given how I know how this movie ends and how I learned the next one begins. I've been watching trailers, or I've watched a trailer for Final Chapter since last time we spoke, and I'll have thoughts on that once we get to the end of this particular podcast. Additionally, this is the third film in the franchise, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who is back for some more dumb action, I guess.
Yeah, and I know that this is going to be taking elements from, again, mostly 4 and 5, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, mostly 4 and 5. This game came out in 2012, which I don't believe 6 was out yet. Was 6 out in 2012?
What time in 2012? Because 6 did come out. Revelations and 6 both came out in 20... Okay, I'm looking now, September 14th. This would have been a few months before 6 came out, and right the same year that we got Revelations and the oh-so-wonderful Operation Raccoon City.
Alright, so this is going to take from 4... It's going to take from 5.
Yeah.
And, God, Anderson just fucking loves this one. I think it has elements of Code Veronica as well.
Okay, you know what? I'm convinced at this point that Anderson just is a Code Veronica fanboy.
I chose the best title for this podcast.
And Paul, if you're listening, okay, that's good that you've milked what is arguably one of the most disputed games of the classic Bio series.
Disputed in terms of quality.
In terms of quality. For 4 fucking movies at this point. 4! But my God, man, let it rest. I am legitimately looking forward to seeing how this ends up going because, oh my God.
But yeah, we get some cool stuff in this. We get some more executioners. We get more Majini Manimals. We get Plaga.
Oh God. Oh Lord, I can't wait to see how they do that.
They don't do Plaga well.
I don't imagine that they do.
Outside of maybe one thing a little bit later on in the film. But other than that, no, they don't do Plaga particularly well.
It can't be done worse than Majini Wesker from Afterlife, which came out of nowhere.
You would like to think that.
Oh Oh god, now I'm dreading it.
We get some weird returning concepts as well. We get the return of the opening to Afterlife.
Oh.
We get the return of cloning.
Oh.
Hence why Carlos and Rain are back.
Yeah, oh no.
And we get the return of the laser hallway.
For fuck's sake, no laser.
Making its third movie appearance.
No laser.
Out of 4 overall.
No goddamn
because I
laser.
know it's in final chapter.
Wait, hold up. Was it in the flashback footage for Apocalypse?
Probably, but I don't count that because it's a flashback.
Okay.
I'm talking active appearances. So first movie, then it was the training sort of simulation in Extinction.
Mm-hmm.
It's a regular ass hallway within the Umbrella facility in this one.
We also, oh, you forgot though. There was another one.
And then we get was there?
Yeah, because she killed Dr. Isaacs with it.
Well, that was the same one in the training simulation.
Oh, true. I thought you meant like as a scene.
Yeah, and then, of course, given that part 6 takes place in the Hive, we get the OG laser hallway. We also get the Red Queen in this movie. Red Queen is back, saying her iconic line twice.
Every single one of you will perish within this underground facility.
Death. She just gets more and more low poly. But yeah, this is our highest concentration of game-adapted characters. We will, of course, see how they hold up to the actual in-game characters.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you right now, I don't feel like they do overall.
I don't feel that they do. I think I'm gonna throw in another prediction, if I may, right now, that it's gonna be a bunch of characters, but none of them are really gonna get fleshed out whatsoever.
Oh, you betcha. Like, it's kind of cool seeing Leon and Ada and Barry, and it's just like, oh yeah, awesome. They don't really do much with them, though. Like, there's a little sort of, like, suggestion that, like, Leon and Ada know each other previously, but other than that, Barry gets a couple kind of cool Barry-like moments, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah.
I should point out that, to tie this back to something we talked about last podcast, Barry's actor was the Blob in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Fun fact. I'm not even kidding.
I can't wait for Barry to just wave around bad CGI adamantium claws in a mirror.
The Blob never did that. What are you talking about? Jeez,
but X-Men Origins Wolverine did.
They did. It's true. Additionally, this movie does continue our time-honored tradition of the opening of the movie completely negating the ending of the movie, where, as you may recall from the end of the last movie, they kind of got a jump start on that, where Alice was just like, we gotta live up to the promise of Arcadia, and then the Umbrella Corps show up. Our very first scene is us seeing the logical conclusion of the Umbrella Corps showing up. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that.
I'm ready to die.
Do you have anything that you expect from the film or that you want from the film?
I want the film to entertain me and make me laugh as much as Afterlife did.
You'll probably get that.
I hope so.
Get that. All right. So on that note, we're going to head off. We're going to watch this movie and we will be back shortly to give you our thoughts.
See you then, everybody.
No! Don't go!
All right, and we are back.
Yeah, a week later.
Yeah, let's get right into that.
Yeah, word of advice, people, liquid and computers don't mix, and technical difficulties put me out of a laptop moments after we finished the film for a good week. So we've been kind of trying to figure out when to do this second part, so what I ended up doing actually was I just rewatched Retribution just to make sure it was fresh in my mind this time, and we're back on track. And as of this time also, Gage has gone ahead and seen the next movie, but I haven't, so we're going to do things a little differently tonight.
Yep, so first off, it's still going to be immediate or knee-jerk reactions for you because you just rewatched the movie. So why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, the movie... You know, when I was watching it, I'm going to go ahead and say, remember how with Extinction, we had the issue of it was a lot of nothing and nothing was happening?
Yeah.
This was, in a way, a different feel of that. It felt like a lot was happening, but it was a lot of nothing again. It's a lot of action, but it's very hollow action.
I think that's a really good way to put it, actually.
Yeah, it was really strange. And yeah, it's a dumb movie. It's a really dumb movie.
Oh, it's super dumb. Like, man, because after, like, we talked about this, I think, after Extinction, about how, as we go forward, it becomes, like, even more, like, dumb action. And we kind of saw that, starting in Afterlife, but Retribution just cranks that to 11 and just goes full fucking ham with the action, and whether or not that works in the movie's favor is something that we can discuss once we get to things that we liked and things that we would change. But overall, yeah, I mean, it's like you said, hollow action is a really good way to describe it. Like, Extinction, I would say about as much happened in Extinction as happened in Retribution, but in Extinction, there was a lot of, like, just kind of empty nothingness, whereas in Retribution, stuff's happening, but it's stuff that's only there to trick you into thinking that any real progression is being made.
Exactly. It's a point A to point B movie that just pads it out with a lot of explosions to make it seem like you're actually watching things happen. And it's also a very hollow fan service movie too, is something I will get into. This had probably the most fan service of any of these movies so far, and yet it all felt very just thrown in without much thought.
Yeah, and that rings true even harder given the fact that most of these characters we're not going to see in the next movie. So that's just that almost makes it worse. So let's get into the plot overview. When we last left Alice and the crew, they had found the Arcadia, which turned out to be a ship that was sending out messages saying, oh hey, there's no infection here, come aboard. And they had gone onto the Arcadia and found out that, oh shit, it's an umbrella ship. And they went below decks, they found everybody, they defeated weird Majini, but also not Majini Wesker, and he had fucked off, and then they were just like, yeah, we did it. Everything's cool. Let's live up to the promise, and had sent out a message saying there's no infection here. And then immediately the Umbrella Corps had showed up.
And we see all the next scenes though. We see what happens in reverse. In an artistic shot, followed by a summary of all those movies with the same shot going forward, and in like half the time it takes to do the slow motion reverse.
And it's
terrible.
Wow.
It's terrible.
We see literally all the same, like, angles, all the same camera shots, but it's just forward at normal speed. And this is another thing that I'm going to get to, like, a little bit later on that I think we mentioned during Afterlife, but that's besides the point right now. So, we get Alice trying to fend off some Umbrella Corps that are, like, shooting and capturing all these people that they had just saved.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I just rescued these people, and now half of them are dead. And then Jill jumps out of one of the whirligigs and rappels down, backed by a terrible green screen, and lands on the ground and just like, I'm gonna get you, Alice.
That
Alice
fucking green
is like,
screen, looking so bored as she just zooms down.
It's great. And then Alice, armed still with her twin sawed-off shotguns full of quarters, fucks up the pilots of one of the whirligigs that crashes into the boat and sends her flying into the ocean, and then she loses consciousness. And then she wakes up in a totally normal house.
Yeah, with the same shot. That shot again.
Exact same shot as the first movie.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, they can't get enough of Alice waking up. So she's in a totally normal house. There's a guy that shows up. He's just like, hey, babe, we gotta get up. And it's just like, wait, what? What the fuck? Why does she have bangs now? And then it turns out her husband, I guess, is Carlos from Apocalypse and Extinction. And it's just like, oh shit, that's Carlos.
And then the real horror happens. He gets coffee on his shirt.
Oh no. And they've also got a daughter who is deaf.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is pretty cool.
It's cool. It's kind of out of nowhere, but it's cool. They did. I think they were doing proper sign language. I don't know fully.
Yeah.
I don't know American Sign Language, so I can't really say one way or the other, but I mean, it seemed okay.
Yeah, it seemed alright. Like you said, I don't know enough. I don't know any
I don't know
American
sign language, so I can't really say one way or the other.
So they're just kind of having their morning, and they're just like, oh man, we're going to be late. And then zombies happen. And
Yeah.
Carlos dies again, and we're up to 2 Carlos deaths. Alice and her daughter, Becky, run out of the house, and they're just like, oh shit, zombies are happening everywhere. And like, it's just full out. And then suddenly Rain shows up, and she's like a school teacher, and she's just like, get in the car. And they get in the car, and they're like, what the hell's going on? She's just like, I don't know. And then everybody's favorite zombie trope, getting T-boned while going through an intersection, happens.
Yeah, oh god, right in the middle of using the same cliche of, they're not people, not anymore.
Because we gotta just cram as many things as we can into one. So they get T-boned, their car flips over, Alice and Becky manage to get out, Rain's still in there, and she's just like, oh shit, and then we cut away from her. And they run into a nearby house with zombies hot on their trail.
Yep.
They take refuge inside a closet, and Alice is like, I love you, Becky, and Becky's like, I love you, Mommy. And Alice runs out to distract the zombie that's like menacing them and knocks him off knocks him over a balcony, and he gets impaled on some stairs. And then, oh, hey, Carlos is here. Oh no, he's also a zombie. And then we cut to black. Well, no, we cut to Alice waking up again.
Yeah, we do.
We cut to Alice waking up in a cell using the same shot, because Lord knows we can't get enough of that.
Mm-mm.
There's a lot of things in this we can't get enough of. We should mention that during the recap, they mention the Red Queen, because the Red Queen becomes important in this movie again.
Yeah,
Red
and they've
Queen.
redone the Red Queen.
Yep, and she delivers that classic line, you're all going to
die
down here.
But now it's been redone with, sadly, some slightly not as bad CG. I actually missed the god-awful computer animation from 2002.
Yeah, because I think I mentioned this a couple podcasts ago, where this is just like that shitty filter that they put on Galadriel in Fellowship of the Ring when she's going nuts. But it's just red instead of blue, and it doesn't look great.
It doesn't. She looks like she's made out of Kool-Aid.
You're all going to die down here. Oh yeah.
Designed to combat you know what? That's why the T-virus dried up lakes. It was thirsty. It needed the Kool-Aid.
But they didn't have any.
That's why everything went down.
They destroyed the Kool-Aid factory.
They destroyed the Red Queen, so there was no Kool-Aid.
So Alice is in this cell, an Umbrella branded cell. Should mention.
Oh god! In the paper dress from the end of the first movie again.
Yep. / beginning of the second, and she's just like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" And then a light comes on in an office overlooking the cell, and oh hey, it's brainwashed Jill from RE5. She's just like, "Yo, Alice, why'd you go super traitor on us?" And Alice is just like, "What the fuck? Where's Claire and Chris?" And Kmart, I guess.
Yeah.
And Jill's just like...
Project Alice. No, it's Project Alice, what were you doing?
And Alice is just like, I don't know. And then the fucking cells start screaming at her, and she's like, oh, that hurts. And then we cut to, I guess, the next day?
Yeah.
And Jill's just like, hey, Project Alice, what the fuck? And Alice just like, IDK, bruh. And then Jill's just like, okay, bye. And then starts screaming at her again. And then the next day, we hear the light go on in the office overlooking the cell. And then we hear it go off again. And the screaming just starts without Jill having asked any questions at all.
Oh my god.
And it's just like, oh, okay. So the next day... Suddenly, all the lights go off, and the door opens, and there's a nearby drawer that I guess just has some BDSM gear in it, because why not?
Yeah.
You never know when you're going to need to give your prisoners BDSM gear.
The safety word is Jovovich.
So Alice is like, well, I guess I better put on this weird sex shop attire, and leaves the room, and is just like, what the fuck is going on? And then there's lasers in the hallway, as if it's some sort of... laser corridor.
Yeah, oh god, you're right, I forgot about that.
Because we can't get enough laser hallways. This is what, our third laser hallway?
This is like, I don't fucking know at this point. I'm so tired of laser hallways. Let's see, was there one in Afterlife?
No. We had laser hallways in the first one.
And Extinction. Okay, I just couldn't remember if there was one in Afterlife. I knew there wasn't one in Apocalypse. It's too fucking many laser hallways is what it is.
There have been 3 so far. So she bolts the fuck out of there. She winds up in, Japan.
Yeah, Japan with Rockstar Energy logos everywhere, and police officers having magnums in their cars. Something
Oh my god.
something that is clearly a thing in Japan. Yes, sir, certainly a country known for their strict gun laws.
I'm just like, I remember we were watching that. I'm just like, there is no way a Japanese police officer would have a gun that big.
Yeah, it's like it's Japan. Japan in the eyes of a guy who has probably been living in Los Angeles his entire life.
Because, like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think we discussed this as well.
Yeah.
If a Japanese police officer is going to have any gun, it's going to be a revolver, and it's going to be on a weird telephone cord
Yeah,
attached to
pretty
his hip.
much. It's pretty much going to be like a 6-shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen part 4. I
Yeah.
know how it goes.
I've seen.
I
enough
remember
television-
Josuke's grandpa.
I've seen enough television dramas to know my guns vaguely. It's just I don't think they're gonna have a giant freaking Desert Eagle loaded up in their police car. It just, oh my god.
But she finds that, so that's pretty cool. And then suddenly people start flooding in, and it's just like, what? What's going on? And then we get the weirdest cameo of all time, the Japanese patient zero girl
Oh yeah.
from the beginning of Afterlife. And we get, like, file footage from Afterlife where patient zero sees, like, that same Japanese salaryman.
Our favorite salaryman.
And she's just like, "Rah," and then she goes and bites him, and then the whole thing plays out, and Alice is just like, oh fuck.
And this is what really confused me. So, if it's playing out, does that mean there was another human there? Or was it like, because it wasn't a hologram. That wasn't, no, it wasn't a hologram because there were actual zombies there. But then, so how the heck was it all played out exactly like that is what I don't get. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around that scene.
You know what?
It's
Better
really,
to just not even worry about
but I do worry. Gage, these are the things that keep me up at night.
Oh man, then just wait till you see Final Chapter.
I don't want to be up at night
Anyways.
from Final Chapter. I don't want that. I need my sleep.
Okay, so Alice is just like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here, because at this point Alice is still depowered.
Oh yeah, that is true. We forgot to mention that.
She's still depowered from the beginning of Afterlife, so she's like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. This is the fucking kill box. So suddenly, a pair of buildings opens up.
Graced by a Rockstar Energy logo. Literally, the Rockstar Energy logo splits down the middle and opens.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get into more fucking,
Oh, we're getting into that.
the fucking product placement in this movie, because, like, why the fuck would GameStop be advertising in Japan? That's the dumbest thing in the world. So
Oh god.
Alice makes a break for this fucking weird-ass doorway that's opened up with zombies in hot pursuit. And what follows is a pretty decently choreographed fight sequence, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It actually wasn't bad at all. It was an okay scene. I didn't have an issue with it.
But, like, man, that Japanese girl in the blue dress is resilient.
Yeah, also what I like to call her was I noticed there was just some random blonde chick who looked like a reject cybergoth from an anime convention.
I remember that exact character.
With the red,
And she
with the red
always
arms and
sticks-
leggings, and I'm like, you don't feel like you belong here, ma'am.
Sticks out like a sore thumb every time I watch that scene.
I love Gaijin Zombie.
Oh god, that just makes me think. Natalie had me watch the video for that Avril Lavigne song recently, and it was
The
the most
fucking Hello
depressing
Kitty?
thing. It was the most depressing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, now imagine, Gage. Now imagine that fight scene with Avril Lavigne's Hello Kitty playing in the background.
Oh god, that fight scene is too good for Avril Lavigne's Hello Kitty.
Is it? Is it really?
The Resident Evil movie series does not deserve that.
True.
I'm putting my foot down. I'm putting my foot down. This movie series is too good for that.
I just pushed the anger button.
So, Alice is still under pursuit by many zombies who were present in the weird Tokyo simulation. So she makes a break for another door that opens up. And in there, a bunch of desks suddenly rise up out of the floor, and they're all being manned by dead people.
Yeah.
Because
Who got their strawberry jam everywhere.
all over their computer monitors, and it's just like, man, that's going to be hard to clean off.
They smuckersed it up.
And then another thing pops up that's just like, hey, here's some cool guns and also a cool knife. And Alice is just like, shit, man, I'll take that. And then who appears but Ada Wong? And hey, Lou. Do
Oh
you
boy.
like Resident Evil 4?
Yeah, bit of advice, try using knives next time. Works better for close encounters.
Because we get another one of those moments where they remake a scene straight out of the video games, and we get a scene from RE4.
Yeah, not even the last of them, I don't think.
I think it's the only other one that's in this movie. I don't think they have... Oh, no,
There's
they've
one
got
other.
one...
There's one other
Yeah,
near
there's
the
one
end of
other
the
right
film.
at the end, but
There's one other right at the end, yeah.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will.
So, we get Ada Wong, and she is, among other things, I believe Ada Wong is using the Blacktail pistol.
Mm-hmm. And she is decked out in her RE4 red dress.
Yep, and honestly, Fan Bingbing, spot fucking on.
Yeah, and we will get into this later, but also it should be noted that in this, even though it's Li Bingbing playing
Is it
her...
Li or Fan?
It's Li Bingbing.
It's Li Bingbing. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad.
It's even though that's her playing her as the actress, she has actually been dubbed in this case by Sally Cahill, who, as I believe we mentioned in the pre-show, was the English voice actress and the main voice actress internationally, actually, even in Japan, for Ada Wong for Resident Evil 2, 4, and Darkside Chronicles. And so it's a little weird. It's a little weird to hear that voice as she then explains, "Okay, I know who you are. We've got to get out of here. I'm working with Wesker."
I guess.
And then here he comes, the boy, Sean Roberts Wesker,
Oh,
mincing.
man. I love Sean Roberts' fucking Wesker.
Explain.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
Fan Bingbing was in X-Men Days of Future Past.
Okay,
what I'm
that's why
getting
you're
mixed up
mixed.
with.
Yeah, so Wesker shows up on the monitor and says, "You can't kill her, Alice, because she's the only one who can get you out of here. Allow me to explain some vague social commentary that really doesn't make sense about where you are."
Well, no, it
Well, I
does
mean,
kind of
kinda
make
does.
sense.
It does. I was getting in the moment.
Yeah, the explanation is that the facility that they're in is comprised of a bunch of different kinds of simulations. They've got a simulation for Japan that we saw. They've got a simulation for Moscow. They've got quaint suburbia that's modeled after Raccoon City. They've got one for Times Square in New York. They mention China, but they never actually show China. Because, and this is kind of a similar thing as to like, oh hey, why don't we just go ahead and set Extinction in Las Vegas so that we can show a bunch of different like world landmarks and stuff like that, where it's a contrivance without a doubt, so that they can have a bunch of different settings all around the world. And it was the basis for the movie's tagline, "Evil Goes Global." But it's not actually going global. It's all set pretty much in Siberia.
Yeah, with mock New York and mock Tokyo involved.
And Moscow. So the explanation for this contrivance is that Umbrella was in the business of making bioweapons and they were selling it to the highest bidder. So the best way to show off how their bioweapons work is to have all of these simulations that are populated with clones. You simulate a outbreak in Japan, or no, you simulate an outbreak in America, you sell it to the Russians, simulate an outbreak in Russia, sell it to the Americans, simulate an outbreak in Japan, sell it to the Chinese, simulate an outbreak in China, sell it to the Japanese. Which, I thought that those last two were really weird, because I would assume that given that Capcom is a Japanese company, maybe they'd be a little sensitive about that.
But I also wonder if it's partially because I think there may still be some tension. Well, and then you also have to consider the other thing would have been the movie where would have one of the big audiences have been for a movie, especially given in 2012 would have been China. The Chinese market would have been a big point of consideration.
Yeah, but it's like the Chinese market would have been a big point of consideration, but also consider that these movies are huge in Japan.
Yeah.
And I mean, props to them, they went both ways with that.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't show like a preference to either, but they went both ways with it. And just like, you know what? That's fine. Because Russia and America, you hear about that shit all the time. Like, we have video games where Russia is the bad guy. But I feel like you don't hear a whole lot about China and Japan and, like, the tensions between them quite as much. And maybe that's because I don't live there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking up. Apparently there were some tensions even with Li Bingbing being at the Tokyo premiere. She ditched it, and there was some concern of it being due to seemingly unrelated, but still existent Japanese and Chinese political issues over the Senkaku Islands, apparently. And apparently it was saying that it wasn't denied by her agent. So I do have to wonder if there was some political tension in doing those lines. Again, it was interesting commentary. Very was.
So then Wesker's just like, so hey, here's the thing. Red Queen, going super nuts, wants to kill all humanity. We need to get you out of here so you can come to America and make a final stand against the zombies. And Alice is just like, shit, okay. And then Wesker's just like, oh no, the Red Queen has backtraced my hacksaws. Get out of here, Alice.
You done goofed.
Red Queen shows up and she's just like, yo, Alice, yo, Ada. And then she intentionally turns the body of her hologram so that she can turn towards the camera and say, you're all going to die down here.
Then, of course, we get the wink at the camera response of, I've heard that before.
It's just like, we've all heard that before. I'd rather not hear it again.
They literally,
thanks.
the best part is the scene, the shot of her turning to the camera, the Red Queen, it's the exact same one they use in the recap of the first movie, like 10 minutes before.
Which is meant to mirror the exact movement she does in the first movie. It's just like, you don't
need to. That head turn was one of the worst things ever.
Oh, man. Like, here's the thing. The shitty CG in the first movie kind of worked because it was meant to be like early 2000s, and it's just like, well, a hologram's not going to be great during that time.
Yeah, and it's like, even then, it's like, it was the issue of, they were doing what they could do it with.
Yeah, and now it's just angry little girl.
Now it's just like, you guys, you have money. They have a budget now, and it's like...
They've got other things to use their budget on, as we'll see later.
And it's like, you don't need to repeat the line verbatim and then do that frickin' wink at the camera thing. It's like, no, you're not allowed to do that at this point. You're not allowed to do that at this point.
You're not.
It's not witty.
So, Wesker and Ada are like, yo, Alice, don't worry. We got some dudes on the top side who are gonna come help us, including a friend of yours, Luther West. But Luther West, as much as I like him, is not the most notable character who is going to be showing up with this strike team.
Oh yeah, there's some, we got some dudes named, I don't know, Leon Scott Kennedy and Barry Barton?
Barry Barton?
Bally Button? Belly Button? I've never heard of him.
So yeah, this movie also includes the film versions of Leon S. Kennedy and Barry Burton, and with all of the game sort of cameos, we'll get more into those characters and how they're treated. When we get towards the once we're done with the plot recap, when we get into things that we liked and things we disliked.
We should also mention on the issue of game characters, as you probably noticed at this point, we haven't been discussing two major characters from the last film, Chris and Claire. They are not in this film, and it's not explained what happened to them, because at one point Alice does ask Jill while she's being interrogated, "Where are Chris and Claire?" And all she gets is loud, shrieky noise from a machine repeatedly.
I will say that we do find out what happened to Claire, at least, in the final chapter.
Okay, but not Chris. So Chris, they just are like, I don't know.
We'll get into it. We'll get into
it. All right, fair.
We'll get into it as soon as you see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we get Leon Kennedy. We get Leon. We get Barry. Luther's back. And then we get two other characters that are only there to die.
Yeah, I don't even think did they have names? It was Russian guy and...
I think other dude. Anyways, they're just like, we gotta get in. You sure these codes from this chick are legit? And Leon's just like, just use the codes. Because they decided to make Leon extra smarmy. Because it's Leon. And this gets into another thing where Leon and Ada seem to have some past together. And I like that.
I like that, but it's like... Since we've just been introduced to both characters, it's like...
You don't get it unless you know the games.
Yeah, and that's the problem we can get into, is that it's like, especially since they barely interact really in this film up until the very end.
Yeah, we get a few instances of Leon just being like, oh, that Ada. But, like, they don't really interact until, like, the end of the movie. So, they descend into this umbrella base, and meanwhile, oh god, what is it? Who goes where next? It's Alice
and Ada go to the New York area.
Do they go to the New York area first?
They go to New York.
They do go to the New York area first.
Yeah.
There's a lot to keep track of in this movie. So, they show up in the Times Square area, and another simulation starts up, and what shows up but not one, but 2 executioners, because everybody loved the way the executioner was treated in the last movie, right?
Yeah.
No.
I love mercenaries mode.
So they get a whole extended fight scene. It's the weirdest thing.
It really
You know what?
is.
No, I'll hold off. I'll hold off on what I was about to say until we hit things we would have changed, because it has to do. We're gonna hold off on anything having to do with video game character cameos until things we would have changed.
Good plan.
Because if we start getting into if I start getting into how I feel about how they treat Ada or Leon or Barry, I'm gonna be here all fucking day.
Yeah.
So
we'll save those.
they have a big dumb fight scene with the 2 executioners where that just ends with them unloading at the gas cap of a car, which, spoiler, as cool as that is to do in Crackdown 1, doesn't actually work in real life. You can't blow up a car by shooting the gas cap, but they do, and apparently that kills the executioners. Go figure. I don't know, that explosion wasn't nearly as big as a red barrel explosion in RE5, and those didn't kill executioners.
Yeah.
Or maybe they did. I don't remember RE5 very well, but that's fine. So Ada and Alice then move on from the New York simulation, because it's just well, I guess that's over, and they end up in the Raccoon City suburb area, and they start wandering around, and they're just something's in that house. Oh, it's a little girl. Why is she calling me mommy? Said Alice. And Ada explains once again, yo, she's a fucking clone. So Ada's yo, she's a clone. None of this is real. And Alice is just it's real to her, damn it! And then suddenly, there's dudes outside, and they're just oh shit, and they go out, and Jill's out there. But also Rain, Carlos, and One, weirdly enough. They got One back, I guess. Colin Salmon, I think was his actor's name. Rain is just or no, what is it? Alice is just there's a child here. And Rain is it's not my problem. Now it's just you're as fucking ray of sunshine as ever. And Rain's just I don't know you, lady. And an actually really kind of cool exchange.
That was I did actually like that part. That was actually a really good part.
And then fucking all hell breaks loose. And fucking Alice is shooting. Ada's just surprise, bitch. And Alice starts shooting back with her your fucking machine guns, and Ada's shooting back with her blacktail. Then a dude pops in through the kitchen, and Ada pulls out her grappling gun.
Yeah, and gives it to Alice, because she's the less I have on me, the better.
Because I guess she's doing that kind of run. And then she gives Alice a pair of eyeglasses.
And this is before telling her, okay, there's the coordinates, and she leaves. And then a missile shot out, and it explodes into a bunch of smaller missiles, but they blow up, or they don't. I forget, do we actually see the explosion?
They do blow up, it's just that Ada manages to get into the crawl space under the house before they can.
Oh, that's right.
And then Ada's captured off screen.
Yeah, that's all that happens. Meanwhile, in Russia, in Moscow,
yeah,
the Red Queen goes to, hey, deploy Las Plagas Undead on Barry and Leon's group, and so we basically get Ganados in this, but they're basically just zombies that know how to fire guns and ride vehicles.
Motorcycles.
Yeah, and jeeps.
And it's such a weird, because here's the thing. They blew their load super early by giving the regular zombies the Magini mandibles, so they couldn't actually do it for the Las Plagas undead.
So they basically are just smarter zombies.
Pretty much, and it's kind of disappointing, really, but then they're kind of just menaced by the Las Plagas for a while, and there's a fucking Dr. Salvador shows up, and he's got a chainsaw, and he kills one of the dudes, and Leon, Barry, and Luther are just racking up all kinds of mercenaries points.
Yeah, they're extending that time something fierce.
And then they're just okay, we got a way out, let's go! And then this fucking super liquor shows up. It's a liquor with 2 tongues, you guys.
Oh yeah, it's the big beefy.
It's the big beefy. That's all you gotta do. It's the big beefy. And it kills another one of the guys. But meanwhile, before that happens, Alice manages to get into some subways with Becky, And then Good Rain shows up, and she's just like, yo, what's going on? Why is everything in Russian? Why are you dressed in a bondage outfit? And Alice is just like, yo, here's a gun. And Rain's just like, what? I campaign for gun control. And Alice is just like, here, how you shoot a gun.
I marched against the NRA. It's like, God, it's like, how on the nose can you be?
You can be pretty on the nose, apparently. And then Alice is just like, here, how you shoot a gun. Congratulations, you're officially a badass. And I chuckled a little bit.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that line, too. I also got a chuckle out of that line.
And Alice is just like, you need to protect her while I go do some stuff real quick. Meanwhile, back in Moscow, they're being menaced by the liquor. But then Alice shows up in, I forget what fucking car, but it's got
something.
It's got that hood ornament that was in the JoJo OVA that Dio, like, runs his hands over.
Is it a Mercedes-Benz?
I don't fucking remember.
Oh, yeah, but it was a shameless car advertisement.
Oh, absolutely. So Luther, Barry, and Leon hop into the car, and Leon's just like, yo, where's Ada? And Alice is just like, I don't think she made it. And Leon's just like, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
It's a Rolls Royce.
Okay, it's a Rolls Royce. So Leon's first thing is, you saw her die? Because Leon knows. Because it's fucking Ada. And he's just like, she's always got a plan. It's fine. She'll be fine. And then they're menaced by the Super Liquor and some more of the Las Plagas, and they manage to make a hasty escape through the subway tunnels in their car. And they meet up again with Good Rain and Becky. And there's a really nice line a little bit earlier where Becky's just like, I met your sister. She's not very nice. And it's actually kind of funny.
I did like that.
It's a good line. It's a good line. So they're just like, we can get out by going through this subway tunnel here. So they head through the subway tunnel, and Alice is just like, yo, Luther, what are you doing with Wesker and all that? And he's just like, fucking, I don't know, man. It just kind of happened. We don't really get much of an explanation, honestly. So they go back to their elevator that they came down on, and they start getting things ready. And then, oh no, the Super Liquor shows up, and it fucks up Barry, and it kills Good Rain, and it kidnaps Becky for some reason?
Yeah, it's never really explained why. They just kind of do. It just kind of does, and stuffs her in a cocoon, because it can do that.
The reason it does that is so that we can get an Aliens homage.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was totally an Aliens homage.
Oh, 100%. So Leon's just like, oh shit, Barry, are you okay? And Barry's like, I feel like shit. And they're just like, oh, we gotta go after her. And Luther's like, I'm going with you. But then Bad Rain, Bad Carlos, Bad One, and Jill all show up. And they're just like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And then fucking Alice is just like, I gotta go by myself. I'll see you guys later. And they're just kind of left behind to just have a big dumb gunfight. So Alice goes after the Super Liquor and Becky, and they have their big dumb gunfight. And she finds Becky all cocooned up, and it's really gross. And she also finds some grenades, and she uses that to kill the liquor, I think. Or she blows something up. I think it's
she uses some, like, explosives.
Yeah, she blows up the place where all the clones are, I think, is what it is.
Which was wonderful. It was just literally people on coat hangers.
Yeah, so they introduce in this one that, like, Umbrella has the capacity to make a bunch of clones, and that they sort of suggest the fact that Alice herself is possibly not the original Alice, but already a clone herself. But they don't really do anything with that, honestly. And Becky's just like, you're my mommy, aren't you? And Alice is just like, I am now, girl who won't be in the next movie.
Yeah, it's like, I did love that. I am now.
Yeah. So shit goes nuts. Leon is just like, Barry, we gotta go. Someone's gotta stay behind to cover our escape. You go. And Barry's just like, nah, man, you go. Because for whatever reason, this movie decides that Barry should die. So Barry's just like, yo, guys, what's up? And then they shoot him, and he's just like, And then he's just like, psych. And he shoots one in the face. He's just like, come at me, bros. And then they shoot him a bunch again, and he dies. And it's just like, man, you just killed, like, the coolest character in the entirety of Resident Evil. Thanks. So Leon and Luther manage to get on the elevator and fuck off. Meanwhile, everything's fucking exploding, and the entire fucking place is getting flooded, and Jill and Bad Rain and Ada, because they took Ada hostage, and they're just like, shit, we gotta get out of here. Carlos dies, so we get 3 Carlos deaths, and we are also up to 2 Rain deaths at this point. So they fuck off, and Alice, Luther, and Leon and Becky all meet up, and they're just like, shit, man, let's get out of here. And then they take off, and they're just like, I'm glad it's finally over. Oh no! And then a submarine pops out of the ice? Because they're submarines.
Yeah. Oh, well, they mentioned the submarines before.
Yeah, they go by the submarine bay, but
Yeah, and they
like
say that Umbrella used them to transport bioweapons at the time. And it's like, oh yeah, it's the Soviet Union. It was the Soviet Union's most powerful subs. Something like that.
and so out pops fucking Jill, Ada, and Bad Rain, and they're just like, we outnumber you guys. And Jill's just like, do you think so? And she looks over at Rain, and Rain pops a fucking Las Plagas parasite into her neck.
Which all that freaking Leon says is the Las Plagas parasite, and lets her do it.
Well, remember, we haven't actually seen the Las Plagas parasite.
I know,
in the
but
movie
it's
yet.
so funny. It's like he just says it. He just
Because
stands
I
there and
guess
lets
he
her do it.
knows.
I know, but it's just that he lets her do it. He's just like, the Las Plagas parasite. No reaction, no enthusiasm. He's just like, oh, that's what that is. Boink.
It's just like, okay. So she knocks out Ada, and Ada's out of commission for the rest of the fight, because I guess we can't let Ada do anything else cool.
No.
Alice and Jill go off to have a big dumb fight, where Leon and Luther just kind of open up on Rain, and hey Lou, do you like Resident Evil 4?
Yeah, I sure love the big cheese.
Because they redo that scene from Resident Evil 4.
Oh wait, no, it was Sadler with the bullets. That's right.
Yeah, Sadler fucking forces the bullets out through his hand, and they do the exact same thing with Rain. And here's the thing. I remember watching this movie before I actually saw that scene in Resident Evil 4 and thinking,
Yeah.
there's no way the Las Plagas can actually do that. That's really dumb. And then I watched Resident Evil 4, and I'm just like, oh, that was a thing from the game. That's still really stupid.
It is stupid.
But God, it's so much more earnest in the game. Oh man, so fucking Leon and Luther get no-celled by Rain, and she kills Luther. Meanwhile, Alice manages to rip the fucking spider bot off. That's the spider bot meant to be the movie equivalent of the P90 injector thing from Resident Evil 5. She rips that off of Jill's chest, and Jill not suffering any of the amnesia that Claire had to deal with from the last movie, which is weird. They don't really use that again.
She's totally fine.
Go figure. So Luther gets fucking murdered. Leon's out of commission. Alice almost gets fucking murdered by Rain in the exact same way that Rain killed Luther. And then Jill throws something to Alice. I forget exactly what it is, but Rain's just like, you can't kill me. And Alice notices that there are a bunch of Las Plagas undead just beneath the ice that are totally fine. And she's just like, surprise, bitch, and breaks the ice under Rain, and Rain falls into the water. And now she's getting menaced by the Las Plagas undead, which is weird because
yeah, and she's like, I'm gonna get you. I'll get you for this. And Alice is just like, literally just goes afterwards like, good luck with that, or something like that.
Yeah, and we can only assume that Rain dies. So 3 Rain deaths. But it's just like, why would the Las Plagas kill Rain? She is herself Las Plagas infected.
But it's okay, though. Alice can see clearly now the rain is gone.
I get it. So now Jill's okay. Ada's fine. Luther's fucking dead. But hey, Leon's still here, so thank God for that. Leon and Ada get a moment where Leon places his hand on Ada's leg, and Ada's just like, you serious? Fuck off with this shit.
And the intense music starts then. So then the scene switches over to Washington, D.C.
Uh-huh.
And we get everybody walking through the White House, which is now completely obliterated. And in Alice walks to see Wesker now sitting in the Oval Office, only for him to flash step over and inject her. And he's like, now you have your powers back with the virus, because I need you to be the final weapon. This is the beginning of the end. And the movie ends by zooming out to a bunch of BOWs all over the place, including some, now, for I think the first time in the film, the Kipepeos from 5, the flying bat plaga things.
Yep.
And the movie ends with some really terrible dubstep.
Oh yeah, that's bad. And that's fucking Resident Evil Retribution.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so let's start with things we liked. Because there's some stuff to like in this film. Li Bingbing. Li Bingbing. Fuck.
Baby.
Look, I'm congested. I've been sick for like the last 3 days. Cut me some slack. Li Bingbing. Fucking spot on for Ada. looks-wise.
Oh, she looks dead on looks-wise.
Like, I would say out of every, like, game character adapted to the film in the series so far, Li Bingbing as Ada Wong is probably pretty up there. I would say she's on
She looks
par.
great. The costume looks great.
Oh yeah, I would say she's on par with Sienna Guillory as Jill in Apocalypse.
I would also say the other one who really, of the game characters, the new game characters, Kevin Durand.
Kevin Durand is Barry Burton. Absolutely.
He was great Barry. He was a great Barry. I was sad he didn't get to do that much in the film overall, but what he did do was, like, he was having fun with it, and he actually did a really good job with it.
And he had the gun.
Yeah, oh yeah. He had the Magnum revolver, and it looked really, really nice.
It was a little smaller than I feel like it should have been, but I think...
It was a little smaller, but it was more manageable, I'd say.
Because I keep thinking of the fucking Magnum in Revelations 2, where he pulls it out in that last cutscene, and it's, like, bigger than his head.
Yeah, it's like, it's supposed to be, like, really freaking big.
He's just like, I have this.
I'll always have you, but for now, I have this.
I love that. Revelations 2 is such a good game.
It's such a good game. Yeah, though, he was cast wonderfully as well, I'd say.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
even say Sienna Guillory, even though she didn't really get to do that much that was very Jill-ish this time around, even counting 5, because 5 Jill's kind of an odd case. She gave a good performance, I would say, and so did, honestly, even though I know I had a beef with her performance back in the first Resident Evil movie, I really liked Michelle Rodriguez in this one. Like, I really liked her in this one.
Michelle Rodriguez gets to play against her type a little bit with Good Rain.
Yeah, and she gets to have fun with Bad Rain. And I thought it was actually showed she does have a range, and she really impressed me.
Oh yeah, I still really like Michelle Rodriguez just kind of in general, so I really enjoyed her performance. And her being back at all, even if she just came back to die 2 more times.
Yeah.
I don't hate the guy they got for Leon. I feel like they could have done better, but I feel like as far as, like, playing kind of like a smarmy Leon Kennedy-esque character, he did a pretty good job overall.
He did all right. I really liked, one thing I guess we can say tying into all this, I will say that costume design in this movie was on point.
Oh yeah, they gave Leon the jacket.
They gave Leon the jacket and the undersuit.
Oh yeah.
Wesker had his RE5.
Fucking Barry looked straight out of RE1.
Barry was straight out of RE1. Yeah, Barry was straight out of RE1. Ada was straight out of RE4. Leon was straight out of RE4. Jill's, again, was kind of using the RE5 look. They all looked really, really good.
Oh yeah.
So, props to the costume department on this one.
Except for maybe Alice's weird BDSM suit.
I didn't even mind that much.
It's not my favorite.
I actually kind of liked it. For some reason, I kind of liked the design. Again, it's not my favorite, but I mean, I thought it worked well enough.
I feel like as much as this film does have some hollow action in it, we get some pretty good action set pieces. Like I said, that first fight in Japan is wonderfully choreographed. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, they were saying that the movie, apparently they were taking bases from a lot of Asian action films, and you can really see that with this. And it actually really works well. The action, the choreography in this is really darn good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just terrific to see. So yeah, that was definitely a highlight of the movie, was that the choreography in this was just really satisfying.
Yeah, I enjoyed the heck out of it. And then, like, even some of the things that were kind of just there to sort of, like, fill space. Like, I thought the shootout in Moscow wasn't too bad as far as big dumb shootouts go. I always kind of like seeing, in these movies at least, I like seeing the shootouts that, like, they get to the point where they start getting, like, up close and personal, because it's just, like, I keep thinking of, like, Mercenaries mode. Like, even with, like, the terrible CG blood when that guy got chainsawed.
Mm-hmm. Oh god, yeah. The terrible CG bullet holes on Rain at the end.
Oh yeah. And then, like, I don't remember, like, the ending sequence even being that bad. And I mean, like,
it's not too bad. You mean like the final shot?
Yeah, like the final
it's not bad.
Fight scene. And, I like RE4. I like RE4 a lot.
Too.
So I can kind of accept some of the, because, like, even if it's just like, oh, you're taking this cool thing from RE4, but you're just ham-fistingly putting Alice in there in the place of, like, Leon. It's just like, even if that's the case, it's just like, you know what? It's kind of cool.
It could be worse.
Yeah, it
could be worse.
It could be them taking scenes from RE5 shot for shot for Afterlife.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was terrible.
That was bad.
Additionally, this movie was the one where they started really tying it back to the first one and bringing everything kind of full circle when they reintroduced the Red Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I kind of like that. I like sort of like, I don't want to say it's not repetitive. I think the word I'm looking for is recursive. I like a recursive narrative that kind of works back into where it started as it reaches the point where it ends. And that's kind of what I like about this movie, and then also what I like going into the final chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like as much as the Red Queen just being a very angry little girl now is kind of shitty, and like the fact that she says that exact same goddamn line twice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. Having seen the final chapter, I'm starting to count for this. We get that line 3 times now. We are up to 3 utterances of that line.
And we get it again next movie.
Oh my god. So, we'll get into that. Being able to kind of be like, oh yeah, that's right, this series had a beginning, and we're revisiting stuff. Because, like, I'm a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I love shit like that. I'm writing, like, Morphkind right now.
Yeah.
I'm not writing it right now. I've got such writer's block, but I plan to start up again with writing it once I finish up this podcast and kind of seeing where I can go with that. But
so what you're saying is you're going to have Carmen burst through a window on a motorcycle and backflip into somebody and light the motorcycle on fire with bullets.
Absolutely.
I knew it.
Carmen actually prefers motorcycles as how she gets around, so I could conceivably do that. Anyways, like, I love the idea of the ending of a narrative being tied back to where it all started.
Oh, same. Because I also like doing a bit of writing. I like when things go full circle. I like having callbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's nearing a conclusion. I think those are really good.
Oh yeah, so that's really cool. I like that, even if there are issues I have with it. Sean Roberts, still, God bless him, having the time of his life as Wesker.
He's having a ball.
I love him for hamming it up. And, like, having seen Final Chapter, I'll say he doesn't do quite as much in that one. And, like, I miss it. But it's good to see him in Afterlife and in this one just kind of having fun with the character of Albert Wesker. And, yeah, I mean, Executioners still look spot on to how they look in the games. We didn't really get a whole lot of other, like, aside from the little wingling guys right at the end, which we barely get to see them because they're essentially what lead us into the credits.
Yeah, I know they'll be back next movie, the Kipepios.
Oh, they're back in a big way, you could say.
Literally, yeah.
That kind of covers the things that I liked. Was there anything else about it that you, like, really enjoyed? I thought this movie was good, dumb fun.
It was dumb fun. It's the kind of good movie to have with a friend. Watching it with a friend, it can be a lot of dumb fun.
How would you say it compares to watching it by yourself now?
Watching it by myself, I honestly was just it kind of felt really droning without having somebody to bounce off of about a lot of, gags and jokes.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It's kind of like when I was watching it, I was just half the time, I was just staring at my phone playing some more Dragon Quest VI, just level grinding in that as I kind of look up sometimes to take some notes. Because I was like, okay, all right. Can we move on now? Okay.
I would say that we can put that in the movie's win column as far as that goes, because, like, you look back on something like Extinction, and Extinction is droning to watch whether you're by yourself or with a friend.
I would agree. Okay, yeah, I would agree there. Absolutely would agree there.
So I would say that even if it's a little droning to watch by yourself, if it's fun to watch with a friend, I would say, you know what? That's a point on the board.
That is a point on the board.
To kind of continue going off what we have been sort of going with, I would say this takes... Oh god. I'm going to save my ranking of the final chapter for that podcast.
Yeah.
But with the first 5 movies, Retribution would rank number 4 for me.
Oh.
I think the fact that it's fun to watch with friends puts it above Extinction, but not quite as good as Afterlife.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's kind of just where it sits for me. Now, getting into things we would change, I think this is definitely a similar case as Extinction, where it's sort of like a time killer.
It is. It's a fluff movie.
Yeah, it's a time killer between big plot points, because like, we had a thing introduced in Extinction that was kind of like
Mhm.
the big thing that it contributed to the series, and that was Arcadia and clones.
Yeah.
Well, Arcadia and the fact that they are cloning Alice.
Yeah, that's true. And also that the world's a wasteland now, kinda.
Afterlife continues the Arcadia storyline in a big way, and also kind of closes on the they're making clones of Alice plot point, like, right in the beginning. And more stuff happens in Arcadia. I feel like, because the big thing is that Afterlife has its own kind of self-contained story, you know? That it puts quite a bit of focus on, where I feel like Extinction didn't put quite as much focus on its own sort of like self-contained story. If we had had more time with the convoy and like more time with Claire, I feel like I would have felt better about that movie, or at least about as good as I feel about Afterlife. This movie has kind of the same thing, where this movie is what I worry about whenever I see a trailer that really harps on the, hey, this movie is in 3D thing, where it doesn't feel like a narrative-focused story. It feels like an excuse plot to string together a bunch of action sequences that look really cool in 3D.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that I worry about when I see stuff like that. It's the kind of thing that, like, I worried about when I saw the trailer for Afterlife. It's the kind of thing I worried about when I saw the trailer for this movie, or even when I saw the trailer for Silent Hill Revelation 3D, where it's just like, is this going to be a story that they're going to tell me, or is this going to be a series of action sequences that they tell me? And this movie is definitely the latter.
Yeah, absolutely. It is more of just the latter. It is.
So that's kind of my gripes with this movie, narrative and plot-wise. Action-wise, so one thing that I've always kind of wanted to try with the Resident Evil movies, especially the later Resident Evil movies, and especially this one in Afterlife specifically, I want to see how much shorter the runtime is if you speed up all the slow-mo sequences to normal speed.
Oh god, yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like we'd lose like half an hour. Because holy fucking shit. There is way more slow-mo than you need in this movie. Like, god.
Yeah, there is. It's just like so sluggish, and it's just like so much just slow moving.
That fight scene that I like to talk about being really well choreographed, I want to say like 70% of it was shot in slow motion.
Yeah.
And that's not great, because just like, oh yeah, cool action sequence, and you're moving slowly now. It's just like, if you're not showing something special off, or if you don't have a reason for there to be slow motion, you don't need to put slow motion in there. Because, like, I can think of 3 movies off the top of my head that have a really good reason to use slow motion. There's Dread, where the slow motion is there because of the drug du jour of the film, slow-mo, which is exactly what it sounds like. There's 300, where in that case the process of ramping, where it's just like slow motion, sped up, normal speed, slow motion, sped up, normal speed, is meant to evoke this imagery of comic panels, because it's based on a graphic novel. And then there's the second Sherlock Holmes movie, the one with Robert Downey Jr., where there's that extended sequence of them running through the woods, and then, like, every so often they drop into slow-mo to show, like, a tree exploding. And it's just like, I watch that and I think, this is what this sort of sequence must be like when you're a person like Sherlock, who is so detail-oriented and notices every little thing. It must feel like you're running in slow motion, because you're noticing everything going off around you. Also, the sequences in the Sherlock movies where he's kind of deducing how a fight would go, those are really good instances of slow-mo. This movie had no reason.
It didn't.
It didn't really have a good reason to show slow-mo, because it was just like, they would just go into slow-mo for literally no reason. They go into slow-mo because a character is standing up.
Yeah, they just would do that. It had no real reason for existing.
My mind goes back to the executioner fight in Afterlife, where like 80% of the thing was in slow motion and had no reason to be. Where it's just like, you have slow motion of Claire like skidding backwards on the ground as she does that ridiculous flip off the window. And it's just like, it goes in normal speed for her to whip her head up, and then as soon as she's looking like level, it goes back into slow motion. It's just like, you have no reason to do this. You could just, other than the fact that this scene would be 20 seconds long, if you didn't have the slow-mo, you have no reason to do this. It just feels like padding.
It does. It does. It just feels like we had half a script. Let's flesh it out somehow, I guess. I don't know.
And it's just like, it's rough. It's rough to get through, because you're just like, oh my god, how fucking long is this sequence going to go on for?
Oh, it's super rough. It is super rough to get through.
It's super rough in that first fight scene. It's super rough in the last fight scene where they just go all out with that shit.
Mm-hmm. It's really bad.
It's really bad. So that's my gripes action-wise. Do you got anything else to say before we get into like gripes with characters?
Honestly, it's the same as you. It's just a lot of the action. It was an over-reliance on really tacky CG.
I didn't think the CG was that bad.
I thought it was kind of bad.
I think I've seen worse CG.
It wasn't great. Yeah, but I mean, still, when it was used, it was that and the 3D, obviously, a lot of throwing things at the screen.
Oh, yeah.
That was really bad. It got really pronounced, and there were some real groaner moments of that near the end, with the Jill and Alice fight, and the Jill and Rain fight.
I think at one point, Alice throws one of her climbing axes at the camera.
Yeah, right at the camera.
Yeah.
Right at the camera.
It's just like, Alice, no, you're going to break that super expensive camera.
Yeah, one other thing I will mention, one thing I didn't like is, let's talk about product placement in this movie, because boy howdy.
Oh man.
There's a bunch, also, actually, no, I'm going to be a little ADHD here, go back to the action. There's one thing I wanted to mention with the action, is the scene with the missile in Ada's house. I mentioned about the missile breaking up into smaller missiles. Not Ada's house, Alice's house.
It's okay. We'll say it's Ada's house.
The funny thing is, that was actually an idea Paul Anderson had from the very first movie, because that was his original plan for the alternate ending to the first Resident Evil movie, was that exact thing of Alice launching a missile of that size that breaks up into tiny rockets that explode. He basically took that idea, and verbatim, I checked, he has a commentary track before the alternate ending where he's like, and it was a missile that was supposed to break up into a bunch of smaller rockets that was supposed to shoot everywhere. And I'm just like, you son of a bitch, you got your missile that exploded into a bunch of little missiles, even though it doesn't really make sense to be exploding into tiny missiles when it's already a super tiny missile.
He got what he wanted. That's what's important.
He got what he wanted. But yeah, the product placement in this movie is
nonsensical.
It's the Sony. It's not only nonsensical. It is the what I called. I had a name for it in my notes here. If I can find it, because it had to deal with Sony Screen Gems. Ah, yes, it was the Sony Screen Gems shameless shilling sector, and that is New York. Because you look anywhere on New York, throughout that fight, throughout the Executioner fight, let's see, what do we have here? Off the top of my head, you get Hershey's, Bud Light, fucking Carfax. I don't think that even existed at the time that those movies had first started. Norton Antivirus. You have Bacardi. You have GameStop when it's flooding. You have the GameStop logo in New York when it is flooding. And I'm just like looking through this now, and I'm just thinking, Sony, how many people did you just go, please, please, please give us money to? Because I know this is a common trend, apparently, I'm pretty sure, with Sony Pictures films, is product placement out the wazoo, and it is just the most hilarious thing to me, because you're like, gee, I wonder what companies supported this movie. And I mean, that's fine. That's fine. That's how you get sponsorship. I'm in advertising. I know that that's what you gotta do, is you gotta get advertising, but it's hilarious to see all these brands so blatantly held up in the middle of fight scenes.
And I mean, that's just kind of, that's not like a Sony thing, that's like a film industry thing. Like, the big one that I think back to is Captain America, the First Avenger, because most of that movie takes place in the 1940s. You can't exactly put an ad for Bank of America in the 1940s, so they have to load up all their advertising at the end of the movie.
In the ending scene, you're right.
They do the similar thing, and this is, using Times Square is a really good way to do that, because I've been to Times Square, it's covered in ads.
Yeah, it's absolutely. But I just found it hilarious when you get like the climactic Ada Alice gunfire scene with the two dual executioners, and literally smack dab in the middle of the screen is a giant Norton Antivirus ad in bright neon orange, and I was just like, oh, bravo, bravo. But in terms of action, yeah, it's just a lot of slow-mo.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's loud and kind of stupid and just very, very silly.
Yeah.
And some of that works. A lot of that, though, is just like, at some points I was just like, yeah, it's action. That's an action scene.
Yeah, and I don't...
Yes, sir.
I think I was the one that brought it up, but, like, I don't know about Carfax itself, but I don't think the Carfax existed at the time that the apocalypse would have taken place in the RE movie universe.
And I was just laughing so much at that, just seeing this flooded, and seeing that umbrella, and even better, that umbrella would take the time to put the Carfax in their simulation.
They sponsored this simulation, you guys.
You know what? Actually, no, that makes it all funnier. They decided to go with all these specific brands for when simulating a virus outbreak. Because when I think viral outbreak to sell to the Russians or to the Chinese,
you think Carfax.
I think Carfax and Hershey's.
Oh man,
it's the chef's Hershey's kiss.
Oh god. So yeah, I don't have a problem with GameStop advertising in Times Square. Hold on. I don't have a problem with GameStop advertising in Times Square. Like I mentioned, I have a problem with GameStop advertising in the middle of a crowded Japan intersection.
Was there one in Japan?
There was absolutely one in Japan.
And it's even better when it's getting flooded and you just see the little power to the player sign down there. It's like the copy pasta about walking to GameStop. I'm in an outbreak zone. Everything is flooding. Fucking GameStop.
Oh man. Okay, so let's get into talking about some of our characters in this movie, because we get characters who don't really do much. We get Jill, who, I mean, like, it's brainwashed Jill, so I can kind of
it's brainwashed blonde Jill.
I can kind of hand wave that, just like, okay, she's not at the moment the Jill we knew from Apocalypse, so obviously it's going to be a little bit different. Carlos doesn't really get a whole lot, but that's fine, because he's just there to be a cannon fodder clone. Let's focus on our sort of triforce of adapted characters here.
Yeah.
And let's kind of go down the list. Let's start small. Let's start with Leon.
Yeah. Small time.
So, like I said before, I don't mind Leon in this movie, but I don't necessarily think it was done well.
He didn't feel Leon enough.
He was almost too smarmy.
Yeah, it was that he was too smarmy and not very cool-headed. He felt like a guy who just kind of walked in and was like, I don't know what this character is. Okay, so apparently he's snarky. Okay, I'm gonna be a little snarky. There we go.
But, like, you gotta balance that out. Like, you don't want to go too snarky, because then you get Leon in this movie. You don't want to go too somber, because then you get Degeneration Leon. You want to be right in the sweet spot. You want RE4, RE Damnation Leon. So, that kind of worked against him. His haircut sucked. It was parted right down the middle. Everybody fucking knows Leon's hair is parted to the side. Like, come on. And, like, I got nothing against that actor. Don't think his face was the right shape. He had a little too much chin.
No, I agree with you there. He didn't look the part. He really didn't. It looked like he kind of had the hair, but the face, like Leon, he really didn't have Leon's face. It was the jaw. It was like the chin.
Yeah.
Too pointy.
Yeah, and then, like, he had all that stubble, and it's just like, man, Leon ain't got no stubble.
He looked less Leon, more middle-aged dad dressed up as Leon.
Yeah, he didn't really have that much to do, like, overall. Like, he was essentially there just like, hey guys, it's Leon!
It's like, you guys like RE4? Most of you in this theater have probably played RE4. You know who this is.
By all accounts, it's probably the only RE game you've played.
Yeah, probably.
So, hey, it's that guy. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's just like,
remember when he made a joke or two, and remember he liked Data?
Yeah. And it's just like I would say, out of all of the adapted characters in this movie, his character felt the most like shameless fan service, where it's just like, he could have been replaced by a sexy lamp and the plot would not have changed.
Just imagining a sexy lamp leaning on Ada's leg.
And she just pushes it off.
It's the leg lamp from A Christmas Story.
Yeah, that's one of those tests that people use for, like, whether or not a female character contributes to the movie well enough or not. And I'm using it here for Leon.
For a male character.
Yeah.
Leon Fragile Kennedy. Must be Italian.
So, like, it's just like, he doesn't really contribute anything to the movie outside of knowing who Ada is. Like, he could have been gone and the movie would not have changed.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because, like, Luther was fine to be there because he was a character from a previous movie. He had some connection with Alice, and then he had, like, the big scene in the end where he fucking died.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But Leon was just out of commission for that, and it's just like, oh, Leon's here, I guess, and now he's gone. Okay, that's
he didn't
cool.
even get a kill on the chainsaw zombie that shows up. It's like they were so close to doing because that was again another pretty blatant homage to 4.
Yeah.
And they don't actually go all the way through with it.
They don't. And, like, that's another issue with the Las Plagas, is that they don't go far enough with the Las Plagas.
They really don't.
I get not wanting to do the mandible thing because you fucking blew your load too early with the mandibles, but God's sakes, there's so much other stuff you could do with the Plaga. You didn't even do any head whipping. Head whipping would have been a great use of your CG budget, but no.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, they don't do that. The gore in this is actually surprisingly tame.
Yeah, it's weird.
They censor they kind of like they even kind of self-censor the scene at the start with the getting impaled on the wooden spike.
Oh yeah.
If you think about it. And it's an R-rated movie. Don't get us wrong, it is an R-rated movie, but aside from a few headshots, they
go light.
Yeah,
they go super
light
light
on this. Like this was a soft R, I would argue.
Oh yeah, absolutely a soft R. Like if they had a little bit less CG blood, this could have been brought down to like a PG-13.
This could have been, yeah. This definitely could have been.
Next on the list is Barry Burton. Kevin Durand does a pretty good job as Barry Burton. He looks the part, costumes well designed. His personality is pretty good, all things considered. He's very Revelations 2 Barry more than anything.
He is, which is ironic because this was
before Revelations 2.
This was about this was like about 4 years before Revelations 2, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
3 years before Revelations 2.
My major issue with Barry in this movie is that they kill him off.
Same. No, yeah. They killed him off, and he didn't get to do that much, honestly.
No, he did about the same amount as Leon. Like, the most that he got to do was he killed one.
Yeah, and even then, it was like...
It was pretty flaccid, all things considered.
It was flaccid.
And it's just like, it sucks, because, like I said, Barry is like one of the most beloved characters in the Resident Evil franchise.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that I would not be surprised if just his sheer popularity, especially over here, was what got him in the film. I think they just really wanted a fan favorite alongside Leon.
Who was another fan favorite.
Yeah, definitely. So they were like, you know what, let's put Barry in. Why not?
And then, hey, let's kill him off.
And I will say there was one other thing I did have issue with is Kevin Durant did a great job. I just feel like the script, I was waiting for at least one Barryism. At least one or two just real eye-rolling lines. One of those, so bad they're good lines.
Just
he
not
doesn't
even
really get those.
Not even an oh my god.
You don't get any Jill Sandwich. You don't get any Master of Unlocking. That's fine, but we could have had I Have This.
We could have gotten that.
We could have gotten I Have This.
Perfect moment for that, and they blew it.
They did. And again, killing him off was he goes out. Does he really go out with a bang? Because he really doesn't do it. He just opens fire. He kills one, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. He does kill one, but other than that, it's just like they set it up that he's gonna like blow everything sky high. With like the cigar and all that, and
just it doesn't really go anywhere. And like that's the movie's biggest crime with its treatment of Barry Burton. Is just like he doesn't really get to do much. He's very Barry-esque, but he doesn't really get to go as far as he should with it. There's a lot of missed opportunities in this movie. You get a missed opportunity to do cool stuff with the Plaga. Leon Kennedy is a big missed opportunity. Not going as far as you could with Barry Burton was a big missed opportunity, and that's honestly just like my biggest issues with it. Now, next on the list is Ada Wong, played by Li Bingbing.
Li Bingbing and Sally Cahill, which is a unfortunate implication of why she was dubbed over.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I've told you this before in past conversations. I would have been 100% okay with Ada Wong with an accent.
Same.
I would have almost preferred that. I think that would have been really cool if you had an Ada Wong who has like a Chinese accent, or even just that would have been cool. I would have actually really preferred that. And the fact that they don't it's an awkward dubbing because the voice doesn't quite match the face.
It doesn't. There's something that's detached between Cahill's acting and the actual lip movements.
Yeah,
with
not that the
Bingbing.
voice acting is bad. The voice acting is fine, but there's...
It's a little phoned in, actually, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, I'll say that much, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of phoned in, is the other issue. Is like, you do get an actress who, I would have thought going in that, somebody who had, for at that point, a good 14 years played the character. I did kind of almost expect her to, be able to give, like, the
Maybe
usual...
be the best actor in the movie.
Maybe be the best actress in the film, I was kind of expecting, because she gives really good performance. Even back in RE2, which, let me tell you, for those of you who haven't played RE2, the voicing and acting in that game is ham and cheese, and it's really corny.
I still need to finish RE2.
You need to finish it. But even then, it's like, she gave a really good delivery in that, and in 4, she had really upped her game. In this, she's just very much, she's phoning it in. It doesn't really sound like the delivery she'd give in the games, and it just takes you out of it when those moments you look at her lips and you look at the way it's read, and it's like, it's out of it.
It pulls you right out, yeah.
And I don't know if it's ever been explained as to whether it was an accent thing or whether it was just simply Bingbing's voice, or if it was that her English was that poor. I don't know if it was a case of maybe not just the accent, but maybe her English was substantially, unintelligible. But even then, it's just like, it feels really awkward and kind of unprofessional, in my opinion, to have to do that and to do this dubbing over.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to rewatch Transformers Age of Extinction, because she's in that, and I can't remember if she speaks English in that or not. I'm gonna need to, like...
I mean, I know why she'd be in that, as again, in that case it would have been, a lot of this is obviously that, in that case it would be more, appealing to the Chinese market.
Of course.
But in the case of Ada, it's like, no, it's who the character is. She is Asian.
She's Chinese, specifically.
Yeah.
So,
well, do we even know that in the games? I think they've always been very, because it's, like, in the games, Ada Wong isn't even her real name. We know that much, so...
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know.
I tend to assume.
Yeah, I would assume so, too. It's just, it is very much,
because, like...
It's strange.
Fun fact, I believe that Wong is the most common surname in the world.
It could be.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure that's a fact, because that comes up in John Dies at the End.
Oh, right!
Mm-hmm.
David Wong.
So, another issue that I have with Ada in this movie is that she is not particularly Ada-esque.
At all.
At all.
Yeah.
Like, that's my big thing, because, like, Ada...
She's weak.
Ada is... I have issues with Ada in the games, in the sense that, like, what is your deal? Who are you? Who the fuck are you working for? That's my big thing with Ada in the games, but...
No, absolutely, yeah.
We don't get that sort of, like, playful vagueness to her in this movie.
And that's what it was missing, is she's very cold, she's serious, and she seems almost helpless at sometimes. That's not what Ada should be. Like, Ada in the games is the mysterious character. She's luring characters along. She's basically got Leon wrapped around her finger now for a good 20 years. The character is meant to be this kind of sly, the Sly Fox kind of character, the playful type who is kind of pulling the strings possibly behind everybody else's back. She knows more than everybody else. She's one step ahead of everybody else, and she's having fun with that. In this, she's very serious, no-nonsense, and just kind of following the lead of everybody else. And it's just like she's an exposition machine, is the other issue. She's just an exposition device. And that feels like the complete opposite of what Ada should be, and it just makes her feel... So it's like you have this character who looks like Ada, who sounds like Ada, but doesn't feel like it's really Ada. And that's what's so difficult, that's what's so frustrating.
The scene that I keep going back to in my mind is actually the Times Square fight with the Executioners.
Oh, God.
Because there's a part in that where Ada runs into a bus, and one of the Executioners is, like, chopping at it with his big axe hammer. And I remember seeing Ada in the bus and being all like, oh, fuck, oh, shit. And it's just like, no.
She's shirking back.
She would be way more fucking level-headed and, like, calm and collected in a situation like that, because that's who she is. There is exactly one time in the entire Resident Evil, like, series where we have seen Ada legitimately shaken, and that's the end of RE6.
Yeah, we have seen her panic under pressure, granted, but not to that degree. Like, she freaks out. She gets, like, kind of defensive, panic like at some of the RE4 stuff, but yeah, not to that degree. And the other thing that really ticked me off, and I do want to talk about, I wanted to talk about it earlier when I saw the film, is the hook shot.
Ada doesn't get to use it, really.
She doesn't get to use it. She doesn't get to use one of the items she is most, at this point at least, is one of the most items she's most well known for. An item that is from the games, that is from 4, and 6 for that matter, which would have been the game that had came out just months later. She doesn't use it. She just hands it off to Alice, so Alice can get a scene up an elevator shaft of shooting a liquor with a hook shot.
She uses it to take one guy out.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
Ada does?
The dude who comes around the back of the house during the shootout in Suburbia, she shoots the hook shot through that guy's shoulder and then pulls him onto, like, the island in the middle of the kitchen there.
Oh.
But that's about it. The fact that they pass up Ada getting the most use out of, like, one of her more iconic pieces of equipment for Alice getting to use that is probably it's another one of these things. It's the biggest issue with this whole series is Alice. Like, just Alice.
It is. It's this movie. And this movie ends with making Alice back into the Mary Sue deliberately.
Mm-hmm.
Is the other thing that raised an eyebrow with me.
Yeah, or does it? We'll have to find out next week.
Don't you play with me, Shark Man.
Well, I don't think it's going to be next week. I think it's more like in a few days. I don't know. When are you planning to see Final Chapter?
Well, honestly, I could see it as early as tomorrow. It's more likely I may try and see it Wednesday.
Okay.
I would need to figure out. But I will see. I'll even check the showtimes tomorrow. I'll check what the showtimes are this coming week tomorrow or this evening.
Yeah, so that's next week. I think I've pretty much canvassed everything. Like, I don't even really have that many problems with Alice outside of her being, like, show stealer as per usual with this movie, so I don't really have anything to say about her. Yeah, I think I've pretty much canvassed every issue that I have with this movie, honestly.
Same. It's just that, again, it's a lot like
Extinction.
Basically, a lot like Extinction. It's a lot of nothing. It's It's very loud and very empty. It's like a snack food. It's like having a bad piece of junk food. It's flashy. It's got a flashy wrapper, and it's like briefly satisfying if you're in for it for something to quickly fill you up. But then you get to the end and you're just like not truly satisfied. It's not great. It's not as bad as Extinction.
It's not. Definitely not.
Because there's more action. There's more polish to it than Extinction.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it a good movie. It's kind of like it's another filler. It feels like the second of 2 filler movies. And that's a problem when you're making a movie that can basically be categorized as filler.
Okay, now, question.
Yes.
Because we're getting pretty close to, like, signing off here, but
yeah.
This entire movie, or the last, like, 20 minutes of Extinction?
Ugh.
Honestly, I know what I'd choose.
I would say the last 20 minutes of Extinction.
Good man.
Because those were actually tense, well done, and actually kind of had a thrill to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
this was basically like Mercenaries 3D, the movie.
Oh, man. Why can't I delete my save file? God damn it.
Just like, oh, you can delete your save file in this movie, you just throw it out the window and hit it with a shotgun.
Oh.
Try selling that to GameStop.
Alright, so that's going to be it for us for this week. That was Resident Evil Retribution. Next week, well, technically next week for you guys, it's going to be, we're going to probably start up recording the pre-show right after this, and then Lou's going to see this sometime in the next couple days. But next week for you guys is going to be our thoughts on Resident Evil, the final chapter, which...
Head into the dark. Don't be afraid, just please help me.
I don't know why they gave up so hard on the naming convention. Like, the final chapter is so on the nose.
Would you rather the Japanese title of Biohazard the Final?
Yes. I love when
the final.
I love when Japan names things like that, like Biohazard, the stage. It's just like, oh, so you just made a stage?
The final. Yeah, it's the final.
The final
what? The final. And it's better in the trailers because they got Ward Sexton, the guy who used to do the titles calls, to do it in the trailer. So you just hear Biohazard, The final.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's so good.
But that's for next week. For now, I want to thank everybody for listening. I'd like to thank Lou for joining me on Retribution. I want to thank everybody for being patient with us as we've had our issues trying to get this one out there.
Yeah, my apologies, folks, but things are going to be a lot smoother for this final film.
This final chapter, as it were.
This final chapter of the rest of our afterlives, and I'll probably feel like I'm facing extinction as I go to the theater and deal with the apocalypse of buying a ticket, Resident Evil 1.
And I'm sure I will face some retribution for my crimes of making him watch this entire series.
Yes, you will. I forgot that. I forgot that movie, and I just saw it.
That says a lot about
it. That says a lot about this film.
Oh, man. So yeah, thank you, everybody. We will see y'all next time. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
You did a really good job. This case was just too weird. This case was...
Hello? Hello? Oh, it's my friend. He wanted me to say the word Beppis on the podcast.